and development and fostered innovations in plenty. During his long association with DCE-DTU, lasting almost 25 years, Sir has made a highly distinguished contribution to academic research and administration of this prestigious institution. Sir is a master visionary of transformation, and he has transformed DCE into a world-class academic and research institution. Due to his huge contribution to the field, he has been awarded many awards and recognitions. Sir has been conferred with the honorary degree of Doctor of Engineering by his alma mater in July 2013, and he has also been conferred with the honorary degree of Doctor of Science by Dr. K.N. Modi University in October 2009. Sir is a crusader of India's rich cultural, philosophical, science and technology heritage. He is a leading light of Indian higher education, deeply committed to ushering a new dawn of India's glory in higher education, research, and innovation. On behalf of the university and the Honorable Vice Chancellor, we welcome you, sir, and hand over this session to you now.
More than anything else, Pallavi ji, it's a matter of great delight to be connected to Sri Vishwakarma Skill University and to this very important AICT sponsored one-week workshop organized by Professor Rishipal. Professor Rishipal was with me here at Amity University, head of our Amity School of Behavioral Sciences, and I learned a lot from him about the importance of behavior. And as we move further into the layers of 21st century, the relationship between people, faith in their capabilities, and inspiring them to take integrity, both at the personal and professional level, will hold a very important promise. I feel truly delighted to connect to you, and thank you very much indeed, Professor Rishipal, for this opportunity. Let me also say that very many participants connected to this very important workshop sponsored by AICTE holds a very important promise today, because a new India is being created. In fact, a new world is to be created now after the post-COVID era. We need to understand the importance of a major shift that is taking place in all sectors of economy, including here in our education sector, where we have learned that really speaking today, it's very important for us to understand that we are in a totally different age compared to the age in which we were there in the pre-COVID era. And that is why it's very important for all those who are associated with higher education sector to understand the importance of managing our institutions, not merely academically, but otherwise with all dimensions of academic and governance systems, to create that desired bliss and happiness in the minds of all concerned, including our own people to whom we aspire to serve within the campus and to those with whom we are connected, in fact, in the world at large. And therefore, at this very important workshop, I thought of transplanting a few ideas to your mind in terms of managing institutions for academic and research excellence by sharing my own experiences. Let me begin by giving a few general remarks which are of great importance. One of them, of course, relates to the role and responsibility of the universities in the larger arena of our nation's development, as well as development of the humanity at large. Education, especially higher education, plays and will continue to play a very important role in developing the society around, in development of our great nation on pathways of prosperity and happiness, and it will continue to contribute to a great extent to the development of the global human society and allow it to march on the pathways of human excellence that shall include economic development, that shall include development of great infrastructures, which we all require. But more than that, it must also assure the development of the human beings, not in terms of their mere physical height or physical fitness, but also in terms of their attitude towards the society to which they belong to nature of which they are part. And that is why our forefathers ensured that the dimensions of education include a much greater sense and responsibility towards maintaining a healthy environment around. And that is why harmony with nature was in fact an integral part. A whole lot of emphasis has been paid by our forefathers while imparting education on what they called in those days cultivating self-discipline, which means Atma Sanyam. Self-discipline, in fact, holds the promise for creating academic and research excellence, but more than that, human excellence. A person who is self-disciplined rises to the pinnacle of glory and achieves great success in his life. Success achieved with the practice of self-discipline remains with you up to the last breath of your life. Success achieved otherwise by utilizing wrong means cannot sustain for long, would certainly not remain with you up to the last breath of life. And that is why our forefathers integrated the dimensions of ethics and professional morality into education, so that education becomes a valid means of not only creating capability, competence, and caliber, but also to nurture character and attitude that would be vital for the practice of the knowledge and the great wealth of knowledge which people will adorn during their study at the university and institutions of higher learning. Especially now that the 21st century has entered into the third decade, with the great advent of COVID-19, the importance of personal ethics, professional morality, and personal and professional integrity cannot be overstated. We are in a digital age today, and each one of us is being watched for our conduct and character, as well as all that we do from morning to evening and thereafter. And therefore, I think a sense of responsibility, especially self-discipline, has to be now given much greater priority, and we need to nurture this dimension alongside with nurturing the dimensions of academic and research for which the universities are established. Having said this, let me also make one more generic point. Our forefathers laid a great emphasis on cultivation of knowledge. In fact, jnana was also associated with what they called in those days Vijnana, and they had the third dimension of jnana that was known as pragyana. And therefore, the whole spectrum of cultivation of knowledge began with jnana, but it ultimately ended up with pragyana. From jnana to vijnana and vijnana to pragyana was in fact the continuous journey of lifelong learning and practice of knowledge during one's existence on planet Mother Earth. Cultivation of knowledge was required, but has necessitated in those days the purity of mind. And that is why a whole lot of emphasis was there on retaining the purity of mind with which you would be assimilating and receiving the great reservoir of knowledge that already exists. Our forefathers also said something which is very difficult to accept today, especially that the whole world is talking about creation of knowledge. Our forefathers said knowledge already exists. It is not to be created, only to be received. And receiving the great reservoir of wisdom and knowledge which already exists requires a receptive mind. The purity of mind was considered to be the necessary condition for the receipt of the pure knowledge. And that is why our forefathers, right at the early dawns of civilization, could proclaim Satyamev Jayate Nandatam. They could proclaim that the whole world is one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. They, in fact, laid great emphasis on under utilization of this knowledge with care and caution to create a better world than the world which we had inherited. And the successive generations of our forefathers ensured that we continue to enjoy the bliss of divinity and the beauties of nature without causing the harm of the kind which otherwise capable people can inflict on nature. Somehow or rather, this concept of effective integration with nature and bearing with great responsibility towards nurturing a healthy environment was lost in our pursuit of knowledge, especially pursuit of science and technology, and utilizing it for great development that has been caused. But today, after COVID-19, when we revisit our educational system here in India and aspire to be the leaders of the world community in terms of our share of contribution to the advancement of humanity, it would be absolutely essential for us to reinstate our faith and confidence in integrating a whole lot of new dimensions in our learning so that we are in a position to create competence and caliber alongside with character and attitude of the kind that is required to sustain our continued march on the path of progress, prosperity, but also on happiness. I'm desirous to live in India where not only our economy would be 5 trillion or 10 trillion economy tomorrow, but it would be one of the happiest nations on earth. Currently, we are running short of happiness on very many sectors, and it is primarily because of loss of academic integrity, professional morals in practice of our profession that create tremendous amount of unhappiness around. And therefore, in the years to come, a much greater integration of professional ethics, professional morality, personal ethics, and personal integrity alongside with cultivation of knowledge in our higher education institutions required. The National Education Policy NEP 2020 has laid great emphasis on integration of knowledge alongside with ethics and professional morality, and I submit that this dimension should not be lost while accelerating our march on the pathways of academic and research excellence. One of the greatest responsibility which the leadership of the university has in cultivating the dimensions of academic excellence requires, in fact, academic integrity and professional morals to be pursued by one and all within the university system. It begins with the vice chancellors and end up with the last mileage, connecting all teachers, all officers, all those who are associated with the university system, and also covers the vast body of student community. And that is why this dimension need to be pursued with utmost sincerity and devotion. We need also to understand that we are also today facing a tough time because really speaking, today we are in a very difficult situation. We are in an era which has been truly described as the age of uncertainty. This particular book which I am projecting before you, I hope you all are able to see my screen well. Can someone say that the screen is visible?
Yes, sir. It is very much visible.
Okay, fine. So this particular book, The Age of Uncertainty, is not written recently. It was written when I was pursuing my doctorate degree at University of Birmingham, somewhere around 1974-75. At that time, the age of uncertainty was not so much visible as it is today, except that the oil crisis of 1974 created a great uncertainty about economic development at that time. Suddenly, you may recall, at least those who are of my age would recall, that 1974 raised a great concern about the age of uncertainty that could prevail if major resource like oil becomes so expensive. And the oil producing and exporting nations of the world at that time decided to tighten their belt and created a great oil crisis that sent all economies of the world, in fact, here and there. The Age of Uncertainty, this book is written by no one less than the former ambassador, John Kenneth Galbraith, who was here, the former ambassador of United States of America, a great economist of the world. Today, after the advent of COVID-19 and the major disruption that has been caused to the economies of the world and also to the education system, we now fully understand and appreciate that the age of uncertainty has arrived. The age of uncertainty has arrived. The digital transformation has rapidly descended in all sectors, including education, to save us from the disaster and from this uncertainty. And thanks to COVID-19 for making this transformation far more faster in education sector than anywhere else. Many of us in our universities were earlier hesitant to utilize the advantage of the technology, especially digital technologies for education. Even we are on record to say that online education cannot deliver the quality of the kind that we present in our classroom. Some of us will still say, but fact remains that the digital transformation has saved us from the great disaster that otherwise would have caused by COVID-19 and its advent actually in 2019. And that is why digital transformation has rapidly descended in education sector. We can not only present to you the PowerPoint presentation, not only to those who are connected here, but to the vast body of people who may be watching my presentation online, not only here in India, but anywhere in the world. So that's the power of technology and power of connectivity, the power of information technology and power of digital technology that has created such an important advantage for dissemination of good quality knowledge to all concerned, not only those who are physically present, but also those who are connected through the power of connectivity anywhere in the world. And COVID-19 pandemic has also compelled us to revisit and reimagine the entire canvas of human endeavors, digital learning, work from home, online education, online business, online governance are now a reality. Even Indian government has accelerated its march on pathways of e-governance in all sectors. And we are realizing the great advantage it has created. In fact, of course, there is a concern about loss of job because if the physical activity goes down and online activity goes up, new kind of jobs are created and the loss of job may become a reality. But we'll be creating a whole lot of new jobs, in fact, millions of jobs through the utilization of technology, and that is also quite clearly visible. Therefore, in higher education sector especially, we require the new age leadership to understand the importance of the digital transformation. This is not going to go away, even if COVID-19 disappears and we come out of the COVID. Even then, the advantage of the digital transformation shall continue to transform the education sector as well as all other sectors of the economy, including the economic development, the industrial development, the online marketing and online commerce that has become so strong. So we are also aware of another very important contribution that has been made to understand the new reality by the father of the modern management, Dr. Peter Drucker, who is the father of management in the whole world, recently passed away at the age of 102. When I became Vice Chancellor for the first time in 1999 to take over as the founder Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi Technological University, I saw this book at the airport and picked it up. The title was The New Reality. And I was surprised that at that time, Peter Drucker said in 1999 that 30 years from now, the big university campuses will be relics. Universities would not survive. 30 years means 2029. We are in 2022, and we are already finding the great impact with the advent of internet and networking has made, and the prophecy of Professor Peter Drucker of 1990, that 30 years from now, the big university campuses will be relics. Universities would not survive. It's as large a challenge as when we first got the printed book. That's the kind of impact, in fact, internet would be creating. So be prepared for taking the best advantage of the digital transformation to save the world of education and research from the point of view of losing that great advantage of the great campuses, attracting great many learners to come and live inside the campus. You would be able to serve the cause of millions of learners anywhere at any time by the use of the digital technologies. Only thing is, how do you create the interest in those who are learning? How do you connect to them with head and heart? How do you make your physical presence also available? Currently, when I'm presenting to you this PowerPoint presentation, I'm also visible to you because my video is on. And if I would have had the advantage of a larger technology, I would have had all the participants in a classroom sitting in front of me and would have connected even to a great number of other classrooms anywhere in the world. That's the advantage that is being created. So be prepared. The prophecy of Peter Drucker has to be taken seriously. Part of it is already happening. The engineering of tomorrow was also being talked about at the beginning of the 21st century. At that time, the great advancement of information technology was around the corner. Today, it's a reality. Today, augmented reality, integrated technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics and automation, new materials by which you are trying to drive the agenda of new technology has already become a visibility. We have also understood that the microchips are not only meant for the computers and laptops and mobiles. Today, they are being embedded in automobiles, they are embedded in buildings, they are embedded in bridges to make them intelligent. Whole lot of intelligence and smartness is being talked about on the strength of new technology. All this was being professed when I became Vice Chancellor for the first time. So I thought at that time, while laying the foundation of Rajiv Gandhi Technological University in my home state of Madhya Pradesh, we alerted that new waves of engineering and technology would be visible in 21st century. It would require new waves of science and effective integration of science and engineering together to propel the advancement of human society to the altars of engineering and technology and eminence. New intelligent and smart materials, nanostructured material, ductile aluminum today has been made stronger than steel. That's the advantage of nanostructured material and composites today. New energy resources are now available in abundance. Who thought 30 years ago or 20 years ago that solar power will be cheaper than coal, but it has become a reality. And if we are able to pursue our research and innovation the right earnest, it will be possible to, in fact, enhance the efficiency of solar power from current level of 18% to 98%. Currently, our solar power, which we are producing, has an efficiency of only 18%, 1/8, because we are only looking at the light and converting it into electricity without realizing that solar energy is both light as well as heat. The day we are able to develop new materials by which we are able to transform heat directly into electricity, the solar power efficiency shall go up from 18 to 98. And at that time, you would have energy in abundance, and availability of solar power will make Mother India smile. Info Nano Bio Revolution is ushering a new industrial revolution. Industry 4.0 technologies include robotics, automation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtual reality, additive manufacturing. They are causing major disruptions all around. New waves of new industries are coming up. The old industries have to be reshaped into the new age, and all this is causing great disruption, but also a reconstruction, and new creative endeavors also are emerging. The science of tomorrow would be revolving around artificial intelligence, IoT, space computing, data science, and big data analytics has become a reality. When I was a student, we used to say, data kuch nahi deta. What do you mean by data? Data has no meaning. Today, data has become a data, and data is giving everything. That's the age in which we have landed. Big data analytics is driving the agenda of scientific tools of decision making. Even large systems are being driven on the basis of data analysis, and a lot of intelligence is brought into this. Integrative science and interdisciplinary engineering, interdisciplinary education has become important. Science of nature has become suddenly very important. Integration of all sciences has now given us an agenda to understand the science of life. And science of wellness also has become so important. Yoga science, naturopathy, and meditation technology have become important. Somebody asked me what would be the next technology. I said next tech will be the life technology, where mind technology, fitness technology, yoga sciences, meditation, but more than that, the new food technologies and new soul technologies by which you are able to really nurture your soul and enhance your layers of happiness beyond you ever thought would also become important. I also looked at that time in 1998, what Bill Gates has professed in 1999. He said business at the speed of thought. Now, speed of thought is faster than the speed of light, my friend. And transacting business at the speed of thought was the prophecy at that time. Today, we have seen how fast we have become in terms of advancement of computing and its connectivity. And we are driving the agenda of business at the speed of thought, which means you imagine and things are happening and delivered. Already my son is driving a company where he's talking of 10 minutes delivery from the shop to your residences. So that kind of business tomorrow it will be at the business at the speed of thought. The great philosophers make great proclamations, and this was one of them, in fact, coming at that time, and we are seeing a great advent in that direction. Disruption has become a reality now because unless you disrupt, you cannot create. This is the buzzword of all startups and the new age which we have. Now, this disruption is all around in the industrial sector, in the commerce and business sector, but it has become a reality even in the education sector. And that's why the new age leadership in higher education has to take note of the major disruption that is being caused by the advent of new science and new technology. Mind-to-mind communication and internet of everything shall make businesses to reach to the level of speed of thought. Major opportunities and challenges, therefore, for higher education, in my view, which are to be submitted by the new age leadership of universities. We have to have a shoulder the biggest challenge on earth now, and that is pushing employability to 100% at a time when major disruption of jobs is taking place. This is the biggest challenge, and we have to now understand how to achieve the target of 100% employability, including self-employment, in an age where major disruption is being caused. Employability of 15 to 25% would not work, and we have to therefore adopt industry readiness as the mantra for our higher education sector, especially in the universities. And I was very happy when Vishwakarma Skill University was created in the state of Haryana, because pursuit of knowledge alone is not going to give us higher levels of employability unless we pay much greater attention to the cause of skills. I have no hesitation to say that India was one of the most advanced nations on earth, not because of merely knowledge, but because of the great skills and enterprising skills which our people possessed. In fact, the enterprising Indians were ruling the whole world at that time, and their franchise and they were able to market around the world their products. Ships filled with Indian merchandise were sailing the seven seas of the world, and that is why the India's civilization, its philosophy, its culture could reach to all corners of the world, and the whole world recognized and realized the bliss of Mother India at that time. India became a Vishwaguru not because of just Jnana, but because of the enterprising spirit of our Indians, who could really trade and transact anywhere in the world with their best of the merchandise. But remember, they were not selling arms and ammunitions. They were taking the goodness of human beings, including the best of the textile, the best of the spices, best of the items which will make you feel happy and blissful throughout your life. India's merchandise was focusing on the wellness and happiness of people, and India, that is why, was regarded as the mother civilization for great many civilizations around the world. Therefore, today I think we have to drive this agenda of industry integration from our universities to assure highest level of employability, local relevance and global aspirations to be at the core of education and research excellence. Research not just for careers pursuit, but for solution research to the problems which are already at hand and the problems and challenges we shall confront tomorrow. Industry and society relevance has to be at the top of the agenda for the pursuit of our research and development in our universities. When I ask my PhD scholars here or anywhere in the universities, most of them say that we want to become professors. That's why we are doing PhD. When I did my PhD at University of Birmingham in the early 70s, at that time, I did not do it merely for the purpose of becoming a professor in IIT, but I wanted to do research to understand the great power of science and might of technology that is created by pursuit of research and development. And that is why till date, I'm so excited about the outcome of research and innovation that drive the agenda of growth and advancement of not only economic development, nation development, but also development of the society. Research has to be pursued from the point of view of solving the current and future problems which our human society shall confront, and our salute. And therefore, the research has to be now targeted towards becoming more and more solution research rather than open-ended research per se for publications or for career pursuit. Academic innovations, which we all need to now pay much greater attention, must drive the agenda of academic excellence. And this involves technology integration, flexibility in our putting together the curriculum, and its effective dissemination, hybrid teaching learning environment involving use of technology, promoting openness so that we are able to have a dialogue rather than one-way delivery system, and also the need-based learning so that we are able to take our university learning right to the shop floor to create great capabilities even in those who are already employed. And they would be able to consider us relevant only when we offer them their need-based learning rather than the learning aimed at giving them degrees and postgraduate degrees, etc. So tomorrow's world of learning will focus on great capabilities of knowledge and skill integration, targeting to need-based learning of today's as well as tomorrow's learners. The role of leadership in the age of disruption and uncertainty cannot be undermined. People like me and my fellow vice chancellors of the universities, heads of the institutions and heads of the department have to take up this responsibility to live up to the expectations and discharge their role of leadership in the age of disruption and uncertainty. 21st century is the century of innovative and inspirational leadership. It is not the leadership by authority as it used to be in 20th century. Today, you have to be champions of innovation management. You have to be the champions of inspiring your team and inspiring your people to give their very best to the organization to which they belong to. And leadership, therefore, of 21st century revolves around innovative and inspirational leadership. It's leadership that creates a shared vision, not just a vision statement, but a shared vision, purged with pride and pleasure, and practiced with pleasure by everyone in the organization, from the top management right down to the last individual registered in the university. It should create an eternal sense of belonging and bonding and a sense of belongingness to all stakeholders, right from vice chancellor and board of management members to the members of the academic council to the board of studies members, but also to all teachers, all students, and all those who are part and parcel of the great phenomena of the university. They must have a great sense of belongingness. It is a century driving people's capability and maturity, not just capability. Capability alone would not suffice unless people are matured enough to utilize their capability to give their very best to the organization, to the society, to the global community to which they belong to. And therefore, people's capability and maturity, what I call PCM. PCM earlier was physics, chemistry, and mathematics, but now it become people's capability and maturity. It would be one of the most important currency in the 21st century. Now that digital transformation has made us all aware about utilizing the capability and maturity of people to create a new world. It is a century in which the power of science and might of technology shall continue to create a new world order where Satyamev Jayate would not merely be a national emblem for India, but it will be a reality throughout the world community. Connected economy, connected world, global citizenship are the new world order. And therefore, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, the call given by our forefather, would become more and more relevant for the entire world community as we go and build up great global citizens for the global world in which we all live today. And that is why, in fact, we need to now pay much greater attention to our age-old ethos of our own great spiritual civilization to which we all belong to. A knowledge century opening new opportunities, new hopes, and ever-rising levels of prosperity. I have to talk of prosperity because the younger generation cannot be told that you don't aspire to be prosperous. Now, people at the age of 25, 30, 35 want to become billionaires. And I pray that they become billionaires. But I also want them to understand that creating great economic inequality is a disaster. And therefore, while we aspire to become prosperous, we have to ensure that equitable distribution of wealth and inclusive development becomes a reality. And I was very happy that the entire call of our government today revolves around sustainable, equitable, and inclusive development of our great nation, so that we are able to create a country of prosperity where prosperity distributed all along rather than concentrated in the hands of few. Make no mistake that today top 1% of population of our country commands 43% of wealth, while the bottom 50% only hold 2.5%. How can India of our dream be created with such a great economic inequality? And therefore, as we trade and transact in our universities in the world of learning, impart knowledge and capabilities, and build great characters, we have to transplant in the minds of everyone who comes to our university the responsibility we all have to create inclusive economic development which can be sustained, so that the inequality of the kind that became a reality in the 20th century and even pursued up to the 2 decades of 21st century is bridged in the years to come. A century in which the knowledge is both the currency as well as the driving force, and therefore the importance of cultivation of knowledge, creating new knowledge, new technologies, new sciences would continue to hold a great promise. A century in which the innovation infinite, continuous innovation would be the mantra to sustain our march on the pathways of growth and development hereafter. We need to submit to the innovations in all sectors of economy, in fact, in the university system. A century which requires a firm commitment and resolve to protect the environment and ecology. We cannot continue on the pathways of economic development by destroying our environment. We have paid great penalties for it. Half of our population currently is suffering from asthmatic disorder, and we see a great rise of cancerous diseases, great rise of heart attacks and so on. Go to any super specialty hospital, they are as busy and as crowded as the railway station. And therefore, in the years to come, a much greater responsibility and commitment has to be on protecting the health of the environment and protecting the diversity as well as ecology balance around. This has to be pursued as an agenda in our universities, and our leadership of the university, both through academic leadership as well as in the governance, has to demonstrate a much greater commitment towards practicing green practices, maintaining ecological balance, and giving that confidence to the new generation that growth and development and prosperity is possible alongside with maintenance of the health of environment and ecological balance. I have great pleasure in saying to all those connected to this webinar that I am speaking to you from a university campus which has 44 varieties of butterflies, giving us a conviction that ecology balance is of the highest order in my campus. It is also a green campus, not only green building, but a whole lot of green practices are around that has made us achieve the Platinum LEED certification from the US Green Building Council for Amity University, Haryana. In fact, we were the first Platinum LEED certified green campus in the whole country in 2017 when this certification was granted. And therefore, the green practices and concern to environment and ecology have to be at the highest order. In fact, I'm desirous to see that all large campuses of the university, including all IITs, all NITs, all central universities, all large state universities, become self-sustained for the need for water as well as for the need of energy. And they should practice highest levels of their commitment toward green practices. I'm happy to say that Haryana, Amity University Haryana campus is water secured campus. I have 122 water recharging, water harvesting pits in my university campus. And I'm reprocessing every single drop of wastewater and recycling and reutilizing it to ensure water security of the highest order for our campus. We don't draw any water from Gurgaon or surrounding areas. Likewise, on the energy also, all our lighting load is generated from the solar energy. And as the time goes by, we will ensure that the entire energy needs of our campus as well as water needs are made up from our own resources. We have to do the same commitment to the effective utilization of the waste and take pride in percolating the green technologies and green environment, actually commitment to all sectors of our people, including all our students who must go back to the corporate thereafter after the degree and take these great practices which we practice within the campus, and create in Mother India pride and pursuit of sustainability and green practices all around. We require leadership that can cause breakthrough and make impossible possible. In fact, I was given the task of raising Rajiv Gandhi Technological University, where there not a single drop of water was available. The ground water level was very low, and in fact, it was a slopy terrain, therefore the water could not be retained, and totally dry campus. But today you go and see, it's one of the greenest campus, in fact, in Madhya Pradesh universities. So you can make impossible possible. You require breakthrough leadership. You require speed leadership, because the vice chancellorship or head of the institution is for a limited tenure, and you need to demonstrate your speed leadership qualities to achieve in the shortest possible time great outcome for your university, both on the academic as well as on research and innovation front. You should take pride in saying that during my short tenure of 3 years as vice chancellor or 5 years as vice chancellor, I have filed hundreds of patents, brought great outcome of my academic and research outcomes, and I have ensured that great rise of startups and new age enterprises coming up from my own university. It is that kind of speed leadership that is required, in fact, today. It is a century which requires race against time and demand breakthrough on all fronts. A century requiring an altogether new style of leadership, breaking barriers of convention, traditions, established dogmas of managerial practices are to be broken, and the new age leadership should acknowledge no constraints whatsoever. They are here to create great capabilities in their people and to create great commitment towards building a great nation, towards a great human society, and to create a great global community of which we would be proud of. That is why 21st century leadership has to be necessarily different. Leadership is about motivating, inspiring, driving from the front, and leading by example. If vice chancellor of the university does not practice the practices which he has mandated for others, no amount of preaching would help to take these practices to all concerned. Leading by example has become a reality and become a necessity now for academic as well as research. If I don't do any research, I may keep asking people to do great research. Nobody will listen to me. Every one of us who are in the leadership position of the university as vice chancellor, as deans, as head of the department, head of the institution, has to demonstrate great capabilities by leading by example. Leadership is casting a clear vision of the organization and achieving our goals with certainty. Leadership is going beyond horizons of management. Leadership is about breaking new grounds of businesses and winning new markets and new followers. Leadership is all about beating the time and often surpassing the imaginations of people. When I put together Delhi Technological University DPR, detailed project report, I said to government of Delhi that I would require 5 years to make the university self-sustained on the economic front. The Honorable Chief Minister at that time was asking me to make it 15 years rather than 5 years. I said, Madam, we will achieve it in less than 5 years. And believe it or not, just in 3 years' time, the Delhi Technological University not only became totally self-sustained, it would require nothing from the government as far as funding is concerned. Rather, we had generated something like 70 crores of rupees per annum surplus from our own resources. It can be done. If I would have been the minister of HRD, I would have said all IITs which are more than 25-year-old must not get a single penny from the government. Let them become sustainable on the economic front, because it's possible for you to create economic sustainability today in education. And this is the mantra with which the great universities, what you call world-class universities, are pursuing. If I can make Delhi Technological University, which is a non-affiliating university, economically totally independent of the government, all IITs can become totally independent of the government. Currently, 80% of our higher education budget is in fact going to IITs and central universities. I would plead that in the years to come, the leadership of IITs, NITs, central universities, and large universities, which have been established 25 years ago or more, must now aspire to become economically self-sustained in the next 3 years. It is possible. It's possible on your strength of research and innovation, on your strength of IPR, on the strength of enhancing your formal registration and enrollment beyond the borders of your campuses. And today you would be in a position to even fund the universities and institutions in your neighborhood. When I became Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi Technological University, I was able to fund the government colleges of engineering as well as great many institutions, and even pay and fund the research and innovations by the students and teachers in many of our affiliated institutions. That kind of economic autonomy we could really create in the university. You could do it in all universities possible. Let me go faster now because I have leaders are to be change agent, and they have to create this change without making adversaries. Anybody can cause a change and cause change management, but by making adversaries. We need leadership that does not make it. I made many adversaries in my life because I could not tolerate any nonsense. I could not tolerate any evil within my campus. I could not tolerate any amount of loss of integrity by anyone, or for that reason, professional morals and professional morality. You could make many adversaries, but that doesn't matter. We were able to take our torch to the highest levels of attainment, and that's why Delhi College of Engineering, Delhi Technological University commands highest respect even today. That's why Rajiv Gandhi Technical University command high. That's why IIT, where I've spent 12 years, continue to command great height. If I would have been in IIT all along, I would have made IIT totally free from any government funding. In fact, during my 12 years, I only drew my salary from the IIT, but not a penny for my research and development. All the money was from my sponsored research and development. And here in Amity University also, we have made it a reality that a lot of our research and development is funded from the sponsored research and consultancy, from where the research funding comes. And this is the kind of effort which is required to be made in all universities around the country, so that the money of the taxpayer could be largely utilized for funding, in fact, our school education, funding colleges and universities which are new, rather than continue to fund universities and institutions that are 30, 40, 50 years old. So that's the kind of major shift I really would like to advocate. We require breakthrough leadership to inspire all elements of the team. Breakthrough leadership ensures both individual as well as team excellence. It avoids time overruns and cost overruns. We require breakthrough leadership that excels the power of innovative leadership. We require speed leadership which acknowledges low limitation. Speed leaders optimize on resources as well as capabilities of people. What can be achieved in the shortest time produces the best quality result. They practice this kind of dictum. If anybody tells me that I require 5 years from now to achieve such and such target, I say, please go back to your basics. What you can achieve in 5 years, you can achieve just in 1 year. Ask yourself what you require to achieve the same result in 1 year, and then ask me whether I can provide you those resources. That's the kind of mindset with which we need to go about creating new university and new system. Who can be breakthrough leaders? The first prerequisite is proactivity. And Dr. Rishi Pal understands this. Positivity and proactivity are very, very important. I do not want my chancellor to tell me that you should do this, you should do that. As a vice chancellor, I have to be proactive to envision and envisage the necessary actions that are required to build great eminence for my university. The same applies to head of the institution and head of the department, and to all teachers. They all have to be proactive to be breakthrough leaders. The second prerequisite is fairness and highest level of integrity. Personal integrity, professional morals are included. Without fairness and without highest level of integrity practice, you cannot be a breakthrough leader. Third is unconditional commitment and total devotion to work activity. Unconditional commitment is most difficult to sell these days. The minute I ask someone to excel, he says, what would I get out of it? Because conditions are attained. Excellence is never achieved with conditional commitment. Excellence is achieved only by those who have no conditions achieved. Ask any Nobel laureate whether he has or she has attached any conditions for pursuit of research eminence and excellence. They will tell you no conditions were were attached, except prayers to God Almighty to give them all the opportunity to achieve what they wish without any condition. Total devotion to work activity is required. Fourth is the mind open to new ideas and new inspirations. We have to be receptive to new ideas and new inspirations and accept and appreciate new ideas, no matter coming from where. And it is this kind of leadership that becomes breakthrough leadership. Ekam Sadvipra Bahuda Vadanti, that means respecting the opinion of others. A true believer in the people's capability, an ethical leader having high personal integrity and professional morality himself. Those who possess values with pride and practice them with pleasure are the breakthrough leader, not the ones who are thrusted upon the values and are attracted by incentives to take pride in the order. They cannot become breakthrough leaders. This is the age of innovation and digital transformation. Innovation is power to create, but it is also a great power to cause disruption. We have to now ensure that we are able to align innovation more and more as a power to create and minimize the devastating impact of disruption that it causes in all sectors of economy, including education. We need 21st century transformative leadership in higher and technical education. Business as usual would not do. We need breakthrough leadership. We need leadership that can transform teaching learning environment to student-centric, collaborative and deep learning environment. Leadership that promotes integration of education and research and percolate research right up to the undergraduate level. Promote interdisciplinary education and interdisciplinary research that builds islands of excellence, not just minarets of excellence around individuals, but islands of excellence around clusters and groups by which the university should take bigger pride in making greater contribution to research eminence. We require transformative leadership that inspires confidence and builds trust in its community, creates shared vision and winning teams, leads by example and governs with Atmita. This governance with Atmita and empathy is very, very important. And in our behavioral sciences, we need to now understand the meaning and purpose of Atmita. Our forefathers cultivated Atmita in abundance, and that is why they were able to go to that limit and proclaim whole world as one family. Atmita in governance create that eternal bond, and it in fact allows your people whom you govern to give their very best to your organization. The lack of Atmita creates disconnect and it creates dissatisfaction, and you can never get the best out of an individual without correcting with Atmita and empathy. It fosters technology and product innovation. It promotes national and international collaboration. Leadership that motivates faculty to focus on goals, capture opportunities for funded R&D, and support patenting and IPR creation. Leadership for academic innovation, leadership for industry integration, leadership for interdisciplinary R&D, leadership for internationalization at home. Rather than merely looking at internationalization for purpose of collaboration, we need to create the advantage of internationalization right from curriculum design to pursuit of higher end R&D at home itself. Leadership that creates effective national international collaboration cooperation. Leadership that promotes IPR and patenting and commercialization of IPR to make our universities drawing a greater advantage of the knowledge and innovation and research power that we create. Leadership that has national pride, but also has global outlook. I don't want to be an ultra nationalist and only think of India. After all, as an individual, God Almighty has created to a nation, in a nation that has taught from the very beginning to us Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and therefore our global outlook and care and concern for the global community has to be an integral part of our national pride in building great India of our dream. Look at what Abdul Kalam sir has said to the younger ones. My message, especially to the young people, is to have courage to think differently, courage to invent, courage to travel the unexpected path, courage to discover the impossible, and to conquer the problems and succeed. It is this kind of courage to think differently, courage to invent, courage to travel unexpected path is really called for from each one of you who come to the education sector, either as vice chancellors or deans or teachers or as students. Each one of us must take Dr. Abdul Kalam seriously for the message which he has given. You must also take the message of Dr. Radhakrishnan sir, who became the President of India, who was also former President of Association of Indian Universities. The Vice Chancellor of BHU and the founder Vice Chancellor of Andhra University, a great humanist, a great educationist of pre-independent era, Dr. Radhakrishnan, said that the end product of education should be a free, creative mind. And today we understand the importance of creativity and innovativeness much more, who can battle against historical circumstances and adversaries of nature. For this, the university should attract the best minds to its teaching faculty. And in recruitment of teachers, we need to see in teachers that fire in their eyes, which and their inspiration of their mind, where they are willing to give their very best to the organization, submit to the cause of unconditional commitment and total devotion, not the conditions, sir, I'll give my best if you give me more salary, or I will give you my best if you promote me and acknowledge me and all this. Those conditions have no meaning. When I joined IIT, I said, you have already given me a lot by giving me a foothold to be a faculty of IIT Delhi. Rest God Almighty will give me, and I'll give my very best to IIT. This is the attitude with which you have to work. Same attitude with which I have to serve in Delhi College of Engineering, Delhi Technological University, Delhi Rajiv Gandhi Technical University, and now at Amity University. I've never looked at what salary my promoters are giving to me. I've looked at the opportunity that I have to nurture the young minds, inspire my young faculty, and lead the university to greater heights of attainments through my own personal, unconditional commitment and total dedication. I also want you to take His Holiness Dalai Lama, the Nobel Laureate of Peace, seriously, who said that modern education is highly developed, but in itself, it is not sufficient to deliver the promise which has been made by the education. In fact, इसको connect करो, power correct. Modern education is highly developed, but it is not sufficient by itself to reduce violence and bring about peace. What I believe can help is if we incorporate in modern education the ancient Indian understanding of working of mind and emotions. This is very, very important. And therefore, I think we have to pay a lot of attention to emotional hygiene and emotional intelligence and emotional maturity of our people. This is, of course, thank you. We have therefore great opportunity to make great contributions in higher education in India. We are among the third largest education system in the world, only next to China. We are aspiring to make great gains, taking our gross enrollment ratio from current ratio of level of 26.4 to 50% by 2035. But merely focusing on gross enrollment ratio will have no meaning unless we are able to submit to the cause of quality, relevance, highest levels of employability, nurturing capabilities, competence, and caliber alongside with the dimensions of character. Then only the improvement in GER from the level of 26.4% today to 50% by 2035 will have a meaning. And therefore, the educational dimension, the academic dimensions of leadership have to incorporate, in fact, new strategies by which capabilities, competence, and caliber in all those individuals who come to the university as students or teachers has to be necessarily associated with nurturing the dimensions of character and attitude of the kind that is required for submitting to the cause of creating the new India and new world in which we all want to live. We have more than 1,000 universities, more than 50,000 colleges in our country, currently enrolling 3.74 crore students. This number will double by the time that the NEP 2020 makes further inroads, and therefore great responsibility lie on our shoulders in the education sector to make it happen. 9 great challenges I want to place before the leadership of the university and institutions and to the great teachers who are part and parcel of our higher education system. On the top is the challenge of quality. The challenge of employability follows thereafter. The challenge of accelerated growth of knowledge and knowledge creation, IPR creation, patenting in universities and colleges is another challenge. Challenge of accelerated growth of entrepreneurship and startup has become a new challenge, and Government of India is putting its very best to put forward in supporting the universities to rise to the challenge of entrepreneurship and startup. Challenge of aligning research to national and global needs and missions has become a dire need now. Every single penny which we spend in research has to be properly invested to create advantage India and advantage global community. And therefore, we need to align our research to the great national missions which we have set out and the global needs that are there in the form of global challenges in front of us. The challenge of internationalization at home and accelerating our collaboration with the very best in the world to take advantage of our collaborative tie-up is very important challenge. Challenge of accreditation and ranking cannot be undermined when the education in one country contributes to the growth of economy all around the world, and therefore the mobility of human beings, capable human beings, as well as mobility of the work would be an important agenda. Accreditation ranking facilitate that, and nobody will take our human resources in another country without our institutions and universities properly accredited using the systems which are certified at the world level. And I'm very happy that NAC as well as NIRF have moved in this direction with a determined mind to ensure that accreditation ranking becomes a phenomenon in our country. The challenge of nurturing excellence and transforming excellence to eminence is a great challenge for all universities in India, especially those universities where already excellence is a phenomenon. We need to ensure that all IITs understand the meaning of translating excellence into eminence, and they should continue to rise to the pinnacle of their glory and one day achieve their place in the top 10, top 100 institutions in the world. The challenge of digital transformation, of course, is a new challenge, and we need to submit to this challenge with utmost sincerity and devotion. How to meet these new challenges? The word quality curriculum design delivery system is, of course, very much important. Word quality faculty we need to create from within as well as attract from outside. Academic environment to foster synergy between education and research is very, very important. Technology-savvy campuses empowered with ecosystem for innovation and startup is a great challenge, and we need to submit to this cause in an accelerated manner. Let universities become the knowledge enterprises. Let them roll out startups in plenty and give confidence that cultivation of knowledge and research is translated within the university campus into the rise of new enterprises and new systems. Global perspective of manpower development cannot be undermined actually when we meet these challenges. Industry readiness and future of work preparedness has to be our focus. Focus on knowledge creation, outcome-based R&D and translational research has to be an agenda to be pursued by the leadership at the university. Innovations to new product development has to be the mantra in our university. Small I to IPC. I means small I is idea, to IP means innovative product or innovative service, and small c is commercialization. So the entire strategy of taking the idea to the levels of new product and new services and new startup to commercialization has to be the mantra within the university. This was not so when I was a student of the university. At that time, universities were more concerned about cultivation of knowledge and creation of new research horizons. Today, the universities have to submit to the cause of I to IPC alongside with creating new layers of knowledge and new research. Multidisciplinary education, interdisciplinary research, and focus would be on convergence technology and integrative science. Sustained focus on new and emerging areas of science and technology and societal interface would remain as a very important challenge to be delivered. Meeting these challenges would require highest levels of academic and research integrity. This will be non-negotiable in the years to come. You are already seeing that plagiarism or any kind of loss of integrity of academic or research is being now condemned throughout the world, and we have to ensure that research and academic integrity become non-negotiable within as well as outside the campus of the university. Organizational values, organizational culture, work ethics, professional morality suddenly have become very important in digital age. Green engineering, green technology, high-tech, agri-tech shall dominate the future of sustainable growth, and therefore submitting to sustainability and green practices would become very, very important. We have to protect the interest of man as well as Mother Nature, and therefore sustained focus on sustainability has become absolutely important in the university system. Meeting the challenge would require a dynamic equilibrium between evolving social economics and ecological situation. We have major threats also because bulk of our universities are currently teaching universities, and we have to transform our universities and institutions to integrate teaching and research, and great responsibility to take the ideas to the level of innovative products, patenting and commercialization. All these challenges have been addressed by the NEP 2020, where the agenda has given us really a sustained focus on restating with faith our conviction on our ancient ethos for integration of education with universal human values, of truthfulness, of personal and professional integrity, and also integrating the interest of man with nature. Creating a student-centric learning environment, facilitating greater avenues for learning outside the classroom has now become a reality. Thrust on integrating industry and society for holistic development of student has been mandated by NEP. NEP has also laid great emphasis on fostering a multidisciplinary learning and research environment to create 21st century learning profiles and learning skill sets akin to producing future-ready professionals. Likewise, the thrust of higher education in NEP 2020 is also on creating industry and society-relevant research and innovation culture, not just research for publication, in which India has scored very high already. Now we have to look at transforming our research into new product and new services by which our economic strength and strength in the society is created. This requires startup and new age entrepreneurship. It calls for sensitizing student and faculty with the challenges at hand, and also engage them in solving the local and global problems, including mega challenges that are being confronted: the challenge of climate change, the challenge of future of work, and the challenge of integrating the interest of man with interest of nature, and pursuit of highest level of sustainability are the major global challenges. Flexibility and autonomy of learning are the major pillars of 21st century learning environment, but too much of flexibility and unregulated autonomy create chaos also, we must understand. That's where the leadership of the university has to pay attention to. Paradigm shift is needed in the way we carry out our research and development, connect to the society and national development needs, foster solution research, keeping end in mind so that our research is outcome focused. Patenting and IPR has become a dire need. China, US, and Japan are the top three in IPR. India is marching slowly in this direction. We need to focus more and more on outcome research. There is a need for renewed thrust on creating culture of solution research, culture of innovation. If you look at the top 10 nations of the world, India has a pride position at number 7, in fact, in patenting. Number 1 is China. It has surpassed even the highly developed nation like America in science and technology. Japan is number 3. South Korea is number 4. That is why Samsung, IG, and several other companies are here. That's why Japan could rule the whole world actually in terms of its technology might. That's why America could command great economy of the world. And now China has risen to great eminence because of patenting. Every year, in fact, this number is changing. India is still at number 7, and we need to accelerate the cause of patenting in our university. The minute universities rise to this challenge, India will rise and will surpass, in fact, many nations of the world. Info, nano, bio revolution and new technology. The science of change are emerging. Students have become tech savvy more often more than their teachers, and therefore I think good days are ahead. Our focus should also be on this globe. Look at the globe and you find that 24.4% GDP of the world is contributed by United States of America, with almost 3 or 4 with almost 3 or 4% population of the world. China with 17% population of the world is contributing to 15.4% share of the GDP. India with 17% population of the world is contributing to not more than 3.27% of GDP. And that's where the great opportunities lie. China could encash this opportunity. Great population is a great resource. This is what China has proved. America has proved that a small population can do wonder on the strength of science and technology, innovations and advancement of technology. India has to learn both from China as well as from America to build its future. In innovation, India is marching very well. Now innovation index, we are at 48 and we'll be marching further in this direction. But tomorrow's India has to be built around the great innovative and creative abilities of our people nurtured in our university system. Universities of tomorrow would have enterprising minds of faculty as well as enterprising minds of students who will accelerate IPR and wealth creation. My biggest challenge is not how to make student enterprising, but the biggest challenge is how to make teachers enterprising. The day teachers become entrepreneurs, student will automatically become entrepreneur. Then the culture of enterprise will percolate. And therefore, the great responsibility on the new age leadership lies in making our teachers enterprising. When I was in IIT, I said I'm an entrepreneur, and therefore I need no money from IIT system for my research development and my research aspiration. All that money I could get from sponsored research, and then bring back 10 times of the money invested in R&D from my consultancy work. I doubled my own salary in IIT because IIT that time were allowing you to earn as much as the annual salary from your consultancy. I could have gone 10 times the salary had this limit was not there. Today, IITs are allowing earning of any order from the consultancy. That's the kind of environment we need to create in great universities in our country. Sustainability and creating green future for the humanities shall remain as a major focus of education, research and innovation. Knowledge, research and innovation capabilities on one hand, attitude and values on the other. Skill set and enterprising spirit, in my opinion, will drive the tripod of higher education in tomorrow's universities. Research ecosystem will take society as well as industry on board, protecting the interest of the nation, focusing on creating advantage. India has to be our own focus. We all need to strengthen our connectivity and network and revitalize our laboratories, shape many of these laboratories as R&D come test houses, establish working alliance and collaboration between universities within India as well as universities in India and outside, focus on research and innovation for developing innovative solutions to present and future challenges. Education is the most powerful vehicle for nation's sustainable development, and I'm sure the government of the day would acknowledge this much more in the years to come. Currently, our education budget is 1/5 of the defense budget. Maybe defense has a much greater priority. It needs to be to protect our borders. But good thing is that out of the defense budget, 25% is committed for R&D and education. And this is something which is important. If that 25%, part of it comes toward the university for shouldering the responsibility for research and innovation and contributing to the education that defense require, then our education budget will at least become double than what it is today. So that's the kind of strategic framework with which we need to work. In my own Amity University, we have started defense technology as the master's program, and we'll be starting BTech in defense technology also tomorrow, so that we continue to take a bigger share of education and research for defense, and that way nurture great capabilities for research and development. What you invest in R&D in defense also create great capabilities for application on the civil side, and that is how I think the budget for the research has to be further augmented. Otherwise, India will continue to be with the budget for research only of the order of less than 1%, while the advanced nations are contributing to 4 to 5% of their GDP on R&D. Well, focus on employability, sustained focus on R&D, integrating ethics, sustainability, as well as social responsibility, and establishing think tank jointly. Professionals of the future, we need 21st century transformative leadership. COVID-19 has already created great devastation, but also given us a wake-up call and also allowed us to assimilate the great advantage of connectivity. And this is being used, but we need to worry about that this digital education would not be able to serve the entire community of our own people. Everybody is not as fortunate as my grandson sitting in his cozy room in America and connecting himself to the digital learning to his school. There are many children who are living in dwellings where hardly there is one room for father, mother, and the children. How can they find a corner like this with modern gadget? We need to understand this and see how digital education could really benefit the great many enterprising, young and talented minds from our poor community. Maybe tomorrow we will have to think in terms of new ways of imparting digital education, not on television, but maybe establishing some kind of cyber hubs, education hubs in the communities where they are. It's like establishing a common library. You create it as a digital learning hub and allow students to take advantage of such kind of learning environment, then it would be possible. But still, it would be difficult to create this charm on the faces of the student. How do I allow them to hug each other, share each other with jokes, and remain so lively and cheerful while returning home? This is something we need to understand. That's where Dr. Rishipal and his friends in the behavioral sciences and psychology need to understand how to really do this. Serious dialogue in like the one I'm doing today is not enough really to create the kind of charm. मुझे बीच बीच में आपको हंसाना भी चाहिए, बीच बीच में आपको cheerful करना चाहिए, जिससे कि आप डिजिटल एज में उस दुनिया का भी आनंद ले सकें जिससे हमारे चेहरे पर प्रसन्नता आती है. ये सारा करना हमको सीखना पड़ेगा. Then only the disruption caused by the new age learning environment will create the cheers and happiness on the faces of learners. Let me finish by showing you some of the best practices at our own university here. We have a vibrant culture of research innovation from undergraduate level onward, a strong industry integration, great global connect, world-class research infrastructure created from sponsored research funding, research-driven faculty. I have recruited in great number in my university, culture of innovation right from undergraduate level. We have established Directorate of Research and Innovation Outcome to focus on outcome of our research and education. Interdisciplinary research clusters we have established to foster what I call the islands of excellence rather than minarets of excellence. Accelerated patenting focus under the visionary leadership of our founder president is there in all Amity University, including here. Let me show you some examples of what we have achieved. This is a kind of world-class research infrastructure, the central instrumentation facility. The research highlights 71 funded projects of 30 crores with us, 175 patent filed, and these patents are gradually being published. In fact, the data revised one is telling me 125 patents have been published. We have contributed to great many books published by very reputed publishers, research papers, making us smile with 7,000 citations of our university just in 11 years' time, H index of 35, and I10 index over 106. Now it is 124, in fact, as of today. Great contribution to consultancy and resource generation from consultancy is a reality in my university. Our publications are giving us greater confidence because they are moving towards high quality publications in high impact journals. In fact, we are having top class world scientists with us. Dr. Rajendra Prasad is among the top 0.1% of the world scientists in fungal drug resistance in the life sciences area. Great many people like him I have recruited here in my university to nurture research excellence. Patents filing is a regular phenomena by the university. International journals published by our own university. Research clusters in very many areas of relevance. Where interdisciplinary research driving the agenda of research excellence is a reality. Data science and computational biology, infectious disease cluster, research cluster in nanoscience and technology. For each cluster, we are monitoring the outcome. How many patents have been filed? How many research papers have been published? How many sponsored projects have been obtained? How many patents have come out and all that? How many research scholars are pursuing their research in this area? And by this kind of focus on outcome, we are able to build great capabilities for research and development, including in areas of herbal drug discovery, in areas like environmental and human health, space science and technology, global warming and climate change, to name a few. And we have received great grants from the government funding agencies for our research and development, great publications, highest impact factor of 22.3, great many with 12.9, 15.7, 9.2, and so on. And large number of faculty now are oriented towards higher end research publications. And this is making us all feel, and very many research projects, in fact, are there with us. So we are in a position to cause a lot of innovations in our university, and many of these products which you see, they are all the creative minds outcome of our undergraduate and postgraduate mind, and we are patenting also. Many of these are patented actually within the university. And this way we are driving even during COVID time, we were nothing could stop us from marching ahead on our research and academic excellence. We continued to publish our papers, continue to get research funding, continue to contribute to patenting and all. Even in the universities where I was earlier, research and innovation was a great phenomenon due to the biodiesel research, the biodiesel reactor, the unmanned aerial vehicle, which made Mother India proud by winning the most innovative design award way back in 2006 when drones were not to be talked about. This is a great vehicle which we built and went to America to compete in the world community and got the very first award of most innovative design award and the certificate of this kind. The first hybrid vehicle was designed and developed by our own Delhi College of Engineering student in 2005. At that time, electric vehicles were not talked about. We got the first prize in the international competition in New York for this vehicle, which we took there. All this was supported by us in the university, in the institution. The super mileage vehicle, which can go to 250 miles in 1 liter of petrol, was designed. The picture on the left is in Michigan, where it competed in the world community and got the best visual award for its best aerodynamic design. Underwater submarine, the solar car, the tie-up with the great Samsung, DMRC at Delhi Technological University, tie-up with Lockheed Martin for design and development of the new age unmanned air vehicle. 3 crores of funding came. We designed and developed this aeroplane, made it airworthy also. No one less than Dr. Saraswat has unveiled it. And finally, a solar car, which was flagged up by the Honorable President of India from Rashtrapati Bhavan, became a reality. Achievements like these are not ordinary achievement, my friend. And the entire car was designed and developed by the student community under the guidance of our teachers. And no one less than President of India flagging it off. President of India, किस देश के president flag off करते हैं कार को, जरा मुझे बताइए. We had received that kind of honor where the President of India, Dr. Pranab Mukherjee, flagging off the vehicle designed and developed by the innovative minds of students. So innovation receives highest level of respect from the authorities, provided we are able to rise to that level. And this is the finest example of what can be achieved on the strength of the creative minds of faculty and students. Well, great success was registered at Delhi Technological University, at Amethi also, the solar car, the hybrid car, the aeroplane with gyroscopically mounted propellers became the world beater. In fact, this was better than any other unmanned vehicle designed by the whole world. In fact, at that time, the 3D printing machine and a whole lot of innovation that we called here at Amethi made us feel very proud. And that's why great success of Amethi has been registered. Implementation of NEP requires a positive and proactive approach. Initiatives like curriculum innovation, revitalizing teaching learning environment, student and industry-centric education are within the existing powers of the university. You don't have to wait for UGC or government direction in this respect. All vice chancellors have the autonomy in terms of curriculum innovation, revitalizing the teaching learning environment, causing that student-centric and industry-centric education within their own powers of the act with which they have been appointed. I, as a vice chancellor, never looked at the government directions for academic innovations and academic and research excellence. The recruitment of research-driven faculty is well within my power, and therefore I need to percolate the research culture to undergraduate level by driving the agenda of research-driven faculty, creating a culture of interdisciplinary research innovation and culture of entrepreneurship startup is well within my powers as a university. And therefore, all this can be done without waiting for government directives in this respect. In fact, we did a lot of these things at Delhi College of Engineering. It was a government institution, never really waited for the government direction, but made government proud of our contribution. Let me conclude by saying that we need to create a cadre of highly inspired and enterprising teachers in colleges and universities around the country to empower our institution with vibrant culture of learning and a culture of research innovation. It is this culture of research innovation is to be supported by enabling infrastructure for growth of startups, technology incubation, application development, solution research, IPR creation, patenting, and commercialization of intellectual property. All this should necessarily strengthen the cause of sustainability and attainment of sustainable development goals also. While knowledge creation and translation of knowledge into new enterprise remains as a goal of the university of tomorrow, teachers of the university should proactively cultivate novelty and nurture truthfulness and honesty and a culture of peace and harmony, both in themselves as well as in their student community. Take me seriously, we will be nowhere if we are not able to live to the requirement of nobility and simplicity, nurture truthfulness and honesty within our university system and nurture the culture of peace and harmony. Otherwise, we'll create a culture of chaos. People will fight with each other, and we will not be able to have a blissful and peaceful world in which we all want to live. And therefore, respect to diversity, respect to all religions, respect to peace and harmony within the society has to be given a space in our university learning community. I thought I must conclude by saying that you must not forget that education is not only career building, it is to transform you and the nation into a happy and prosperous abode of law-abiding citizenship. Hence, alongside with capability, we need to nurture character and human values in higher education. Education has to necessarily integrate the dimension of nature, character, and honesty. Let NEP 2020 unleash the reforms that shall transform India's higher education into education for the age of knowledge and innovation and help India build the India of our dream. Let me leave you with the thought of what the former chairman of Intel, one of the greatest corporate on the earth, said: investing in education and providing 21st century skills for students are fundamental component to the nation's continued growth and prosperity. The chief of Cisco, which is known for technology innovations of the highest order, also said that if you can't innovate fast and disrupt your own industry, disrupt yourself, you will be left behind. And therefore, the disruption has to be the mantra, but recreation on the strength of creativity, innovativeness, alongside with disruption, has to be pursued by our efforts in education system. I leave you with my 3 books also, which I have published. One is called Path to Excellence, where I have shared entire experience of mine from my childhood till this date for the benefit of the young as well as old. The Pulse of Inspiration contains all my addresses which have been delivered at important places. They are all put together and published in the Pulse of Inspiration. And Vasudev Kutumbakam is a collection of my poems that is also to inspire the younger community and community of my teaching community in the university to rise to the challenge of understanding the importance of the world as one community and contribute to rise of human excellence. I leave you with these thoughts and thank you, Dr. Rishipal, for giving me this great opportunity to be with you at this very important time when we all are here addressing the teaching community of our great nation under the banner of Sri Vishwakarma Skill University on a program which is sponsored by AICTE for inspiring our teachers as well as university leaders to understand our roles and responsibility of the new age. Thank you so much, India. I've taken your 1.5 hour time because the presentation was long, but I thought let me finish. And thank you very much from the core of heart. Please convey my warm regards and thanks to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of University. I'm grateful to you. One day I'll come and visit your university also.
Pakka, sir. Pakka.
Connectivity. I'm so happy that I'm able to be part and parcel of your university for this program. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Pallavi.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for the valuable guidance and the pearls of wisdom that you actually shared with all the participants, beginning from the Vedic philosophy to how you have actually implemented it in your personal academic career. I request Professor Rishipalji to kindly formulate a formal vote of thanks for the session. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Pallavi. Sir, it was a kind of Gyan Yagna, which was going on for the last 5 days. And you have really put up the Purnahuti in that. You started from the Vedic philosophy. You started from the socio-cultural system. You were talking about the political. You were talking about the education and academic system. You were talking about the technology. You didn't left any of the aspect of education, and specifically, sir, your pearls of wisdom, your insights, your experiences. What I will say that you are personified leader and you are practicing the leadership. I have worked under your leadership and really it was always worth learning from you, sir. Whenever I will listen to you, my feelings are just like a dry rasgulla dipped in the sugar suspension, and that sugar suspension is the knowledge and experiences which you used to share during your deliberations, during your deliveries, I am from a core of my heart, on behalf of my Honorable Vice Chancellor, on behalf of this university, and on behalf of all the participants who are attending this, on the behalf of organizing team, extend my heartfelt thanks to you. And today you motivated, sir. Actually, I know very well your health condition was not at all allowing you to come and deliver, but I was confident enough, and I used all my emotions to bring you, and I am feeling that I have done right for achieving the objective of this workshop. I'm really thankful, personally thankful to you, and it was great for me to listen you after a duration of 2.5 years. It was wonderful, and yes, of course, sir, we will kindly invite you to be part of some physical program, and we will meet you, sir. Again, thank you very much from core of my heart. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ishpal. I will also share my presentation with you so that you could share it with the participants, because one-time delivery not enough. People have to look at some of these points of their interest, whatever they would. So I'll share my presentation with you, and I wish to thank you. Let me pray that all those who are connected to this webinar enjoy good health and highest levels of prosperity and eminence during their own lifetime. My prayers are for you and to all those who are part and parcel of this workshop. Thank you so much indeed for giving me this opportunity. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Your presentation will certainly help us, and always we need your blessings. Always, specifically, I need your blessings always. Thank you. Thank you very much.